everyone, welcome to today's episode of Christie's Corner live in Walt Disney World. Nice to see you. Today is my second day of my 6-day, 5-night stay in Walt Disney World, and today I went to EPCOT. I got there shortly after rope drop and I headed straight for Norway. And I've always wanted to get on Frozen Ever After, and there was like a 30-minute wait is what it said in standby, and in reality I got on in less than 20 minutes, and it was everything I expected and more. And since I didn't have breakfast, I looked and the Kringla bakery was open, so I got to try school bread for the first time. It was pretty cool, and I fed the birds because I couldn't eat that whole thing by myself. And after that, I got to meet Anna and Elsa, and the wait was less than 10 minutes. And easily, I've been in that queue before, it gets over 45 minutes. So it was a really good way to start the day, coming into Epcot, doing World Showcase first, and then making your way back up to the front. And I have David Camano from Beyond the Kingdoms channel to thank for that. Shout out, David. He, in his video, suggests to go to World Showcase first and hit Frozen Ever After if you can't get a fast pass for it or whatever, because everybody else, when they get there, are going to be in Future World around Spaceship Earth and other things, Test Track and whatever. So what I did was I went to World Showcase and I made my way back up. So after I met Anna and Elsa, the kiosks for food and wine had already opened. And I would have done all of them if I could, but there just wasn't enough time because I already had a dining reservation. So on my way back up to Future World, I stopped at a couple of them, and one of them was the Canada booth because I had to get my filet mignon, and it did not disappoint. You'll see that here. I also paired it with an ice wine, and forgive me, I don't know the name of it, but it was delicious. Then I went further to Brazil, and since I was already full from the school bread and the filet mignon, I couldn't fit anything else, but I did get a caipirinha with cachaça. It was a frozen one, and it's kind of like a Brazilian slushy. It has its own taste. It's not like a piña colada, even though it looks like one. Right here. And I was just sipping on my caipirinha, just walking up World Showcase, you know, like life is great. And then I got to meet up with a Facebook friend that I've known since 2012 due to our love for skating. And that was when I started skating, is when I met her. And she messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, I'm going to be in Disney World with some friends around the same time you are. Let's meet up. So she joined me at the Garden Grill this afternoon, and we hung out, we ate, we talked, and we met the characters together. And after that, we got on Soarin' with like no wait, and we took some pictures together, and then she left. And after she left, I was able to get on both Test Track, Single Rider Line, and Mission Space, just walk on, like no line whatsoever. The only mistake that I did make, well, we don't want to say mistake, but it's a rookie thing, I guess, because I haven't done the Food and Wine Festival in the past. I didn't know what time they closed the kiosks, so I went home around 5 because, you know, I was tired, my feet were killing me, and I knew that because I was staying on property, today was extra magic hours in Epcot, which normally closes at 9. but for guests staying on property, they could stay until 11. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to the hotel and get a little R&R, get hydrated, and then come back. And so by the time I did that, it was like 9 o'clock. I had already missed illuminations. But as I'm walking into the park, past the food and wine center, I noticed that the booths were closed. And I was like, oh no. So I'm coming there thinking that I could, hit the countries that I missed, put some more stamps on my book, things like that. But it was all closed. They were all closed. So I did go down. I made my way down to see what was open. And World Showcase was pretty much abandoned, except for some people like me who were hoping that the kiosks were open for food and wine. And I went to the Tangerine Cafe because I was hungry at that point, and they received me, and I got my very first falafel, and it was very good, by the way. Very generous portion. And the lady was so kind to me, the attendant, and she didn't even charge me for my lemonade. And because I told her that I really loved their baklava from last year's Food and Wine Festival, she gave me a complimentary sample of baklava. So that was really cool. It was worth going back to EPCOT using my extra magic hours. I was also able to walk on Spaceship Earth. That just doesn't happen until like the close of the park. And so, I got to get a little things in, and just to be treated that nicely. Basically, like, she only charged me for the falafel. She didn't charge me for the drink or the complimentary slice of baklava, which is actually a pretty generous portion. And she was very nice, and that just made it all worth it. With that, I'll try to wrap it up because it's already after midnight, and I've got another full day, which I will be vlogging from the Magic Kingdom later today. So with that, have a magical evening, my darlings. Mwah!